Hi, Mochismo Eugene. Welcome to another. Man, I can't even see. It's so sunny. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. This is Mochismo Eugene. Welcome to another video from Exit Strategy. Please like, subscribe, share. Give a thumbs up to this video if you found it helpful. Pass it on if you believe someone else would benefit from it. I would appreciate that. My condolences right now before I begin with this topic for Molina, Frattolin, the young girl out of Canada who was deemed missing, abducted, later found out to be murdered by her father, who is, from what I'm reading, I don't know the depth of the details, but he's a wealthy Canadian businessman. And mother had custody of the child, or the child lived predominantly with the mother. Let me correct that. I don't know the custody issue of sorts, but she had allowed the girl to go on this vacation trip with the father. There was no issues. She didn't feel any concerns in letting the father take the child. Skip to the chase, guys. Most people are not going to talk about this because they are afraid of either getting their channel cut, or they're afraid of, we're just saying what's politically correct. But Awaken Impulse, we are speaking about this. You know, domestic violence, these abductions and different things like that, which is seemingly two different things. All you have to do is begin from this day forward. Not just investigate, not just read about narcissists. Educate yourself about what a narcissist and who a narcissist is to the core. Hold on to that wild bull for as long as you can. You ride that bull until you can't ride it any longer. That means go hard enough to do some things that are uncomfortable for you, uncomfortable to read about, uncomfortable to hear about. Because what has happened in society, a lot of these tragedies that have happened will keep happening. We can't downplay it any longer, guys. These stories, I see them, and I see a parallel. And domestic violence is a cheat code for a covert narcissist female, and they're using this like nobody's business. This is the cheat code for them to garner attention, adoration, adulation. Many times a covert female narcissist has incited this domestic onslaught. They have gaslighted this situation to a point where now you have to have a victim and a villain. And you women who are strong in your mindset and your spiritual proudness, you know that there is no such thing as a man abusing a woman only. There are people abusing people. I've been an abuser in a domestic relationship. I now look back from where I've came, and I've did the soul searching in which I was in fact the aggressor from all things looking outward. But I also, in most recent years, did some more introspecting, and now I can see, now that I'm educated about narcissism and narcissistic personality disorder, in short, there were certain things set in motion for my life by God, but there were also certain things that were set in motion in my life as far as pitfalls by demonic entities. I understand what those two are now. And a lot of things that happened in my life could have happened differently, but it wasn't meant to be. God saved me from a lot of things that could have very well taken my life. Narcissists will take you down until there's no breath left in you. What would make a man, a father, or a mother? Mothers are doing this too. This is happening a lot, guys. And my condolences also to Jamal Warner, who had lost his life from the Cosby Show. He was Cleo Huxtable. He drowned, I guess, over the weekend. That was an unfortunate thing. I don't want to find out that this was a sacrifice. You know how that goes. But my condolences to his family. Like I said on a video or two before, people don't grieve long. We talk about tragedies. We don't grieve about tragedies. So I'll do my own grieving in private. So going ahead with this video, I want to talk to you guys today, and I want to ask you, I want to plead with you, and I want to pray hard that you were listening to these videos that I'm putting out. This is not for form or fashion for me. This is not to sensationalize narcissists and their behavior. This is to hit to the core of the heart. This is to make you uncomfortable. This is to make you uneasy in order that you may get it. Because you know what the cognitive dissonance does. You can look it up in definition. You can look up trauma bond. These are the elements in which when a narcissist comes in your life, they meticulously or methodically, systematically break down your barriers. They break them down and they establish their barriers. The barriers that were supposed to keep bad things away from you and out of your presence, they break those down, those walls, and they establish their walls to keep you in. So I'm going to plead and pray, and I'm gonna ask you to do one thing for me. If you don't listen to anything else that Machismo Eugene says on a video, I want you to hear this, and I want you to continue to repeat it in your subconsciousness on a daily basis, on a regular basis. Know narcissists in order to know God and his plan for you. A lot of people would say, get to know God and he'll show you all things. That's not the way most human beings are going to live their life. We go through things in life in order to know God. And that is the way that it has to be, because we're so stubborn. We reject the things of God. We reject spiritual things, even though it may not be deliberately. In most cases, the man, the flesh, resists and rejects God, because the flesh is not able to be submissive unto God. This is why you must submit to God in a spiritual sense in order for him to show you things in the tangible. This is why you'll see many believers like myself walking away from the church with no plex, with no regret, with no remorse, with no guilt trip. I know myself because I know God. Through my experiences, I know God. It took my experiences to know God, and I'm going to tell you why. Because through my experiences, I know that had it not been for God, there's no way I could have gotten out of the situations I've gotten out of, and there was no way that I would have been able to have revealed to me, spiritually and physically, the things that I see. There's no way to know who the narcissist truly is, short of taking some kind of spiritual pilgrimage into a world that you can't see with your eyes. That means you got to introspect, but you have to introspect in a spiritual sense. That quiet, small, quiet voice or place in your inner being or inside of you, it will begin to speak to you. And you will see these things that some of us awakening empaths are talking about. And a lot of you guys who commented, once you hear me express some of these stories, you're able to connect with it. And that's what I mean. God shows us empaths awaken things that we could never see on our own. We see through walls. We see through the walls of deception. We see through the walls of manipulation. Even before the narcissist began to try to manipulate us, we see it. We see it from a mile away. We have a bird's eye view. We have an eagle's eye. There's somewhere in the scripture where God says, "Who report will you believe?" When we hear news like this tragedy with Molina, 9 years old, what would drive a daddy or father to not only murder his child at 9 years old, but lie, straight-faced lie, and tell them she got abducted, and ain't even good at lying, and then hide her under a log? And this is up in Lake George. That's not far from where I live. They were out of Canada, and Molina talked to her mom at 5:30. Shortly thereafter, she's dead. And I'll tell you, the why is my opinion, based on what I know about narcissists, he is a psychopath, sociopath, one of the two. It doesn't matter. Psychopathic narcissist. And I'll tell you one thing else. Before all the other details come out, I'm going to tell you what I believe. Just by the fact of how this happened, I think he sexualized his daughter. And see, I'm going to talk about this because it has to be talked about. I think he overly sexualized his daughter. What do I mean by that? Narcissist. If you ever see a narcissist man, and we're going to use a man in this case, let's say if you're at the state fair or something like that, and they're walking with their daughter. Let's say if she's 5 or 6 years old and you're walking with her and you're holding her hand, or she's 7 or 8, you're walking with her hand. There is really no distinct way to see that as abnormal, but let's take a 21, 23-year-old or somewhere in that adult or adult teen, when we say adult teen, 17, 18. And he has his arms around her and he's walking through that state fair, the grounds, past people. And you notice he has her in an embrace. He has his arm around her in a way where it causes you to question, is that his girlfriend or is that? And some of the things they're saying is very distinct that it's his daughter, but the demonstration shows otherwise. This is some telltales that this is not normal. They will be holding their adult daughter's hand in a way where it's in a romantic type way. Nobody wants to talk about this. You know why I know this stuff? Because I've heard it talked about before, and when I heard it talked about, I immediately had a total recall, whereas I've seen these instances. And so when you hear us talk about things, it awakens instances where you have, in fact, too, experienced or witnessed the same thing. So back to father, they sexualize the narcissist fathers. They overly sexualize their daughter. And what I mean by that, again, my daughter is 15, my twins, boy and a girl, and then I have an older daughter who's in her 20s. Now, what that means is, take myself example. My daughter, I understand she's developing physically. There are certain things changing about her. I have noticed that as a father with eyes, as a mother with eyes, you notice this. But what happens is, we, in a normal fashion, we notice these things, and to some degree, there are certain things that me as a man, I know men are visual, like to or not like to, whether we are purposely wanting to look at a woman in a certain way or not. It depending on what a woman is doing or wearing, the physical precedes, or the visual precedes the physical, is what I'm saying. So my point to that is, I see different things in which my daughters are growing up and they're getting older, but a narcissist, back to what I'm saying, my daughter in times past, my youngest daughter, she doesn't wear anything provocative, because she's kind of got that tomboy thing going too, baggy pants, whatnot. But there are times when she's not even mindful of the way she is, let's say, bending over or doing certain things, or she's wearing some things that I think are a little bit too racy outside. I would say, baby, cover up. And that'll be the end of that. But a narcissist man, and such as this guy, I believe, is a narcissist. He became he became somewhat of a predator. He over-sexualized his daughter. Let's take John Benet Ramsey, the way that they put her on display. This is what I'm talking about, over-sexualizing. And I'm guessing he went to Lake George and he probably was noticing her, I don't know, in the water or something like that. And we're talking a narcissist father, and in many cases, I won't even talk about a narcissist mother, but I'll just talk about a narcissist man. I believe he became very, very fixated with her. And I think in that instance, he started having some really out of this world type thoughts that you and I normally would never even entertain. And that's when things went really left for that young child. And she probably didn't even see this coming. And from all accounts, when you see him, they demonstrates all of these tokens of affection, these displays of affection, public displays of affection with pictures on social media. You could see him post it. People dote on the way he said, this is the light of my life, blah, 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 which a lot of times we do comment things in the positive about our child or our children. We're proud of our children. But in the matrix we're living in, sometimes we repeat what we hear other people saying, and we adopt, cut and paste what other people say and think about their child. I love and adore my daughter and my sons, but I don't need to tell the world that. I occasionally let them know how much I love them and how much I'm proud of them and I appreciate them in my life. I mean, how much is too much? I mean, the signs are there, guys. We see the signs, and we need to understand that these tragedies won't stop. So the main thing to this video, I'm trying to tell you, we need to understand more what narcissists are. Not only understand, we need to really, really connect with this. We need to hold on to this and latch on to it. This needs to be our bowl of cereal on a daily basis, because if you don't, you leave yourself open and you're susceptible to not only things that can put your life in jeopardy, but when you hear stories such as this, again, we normalize them because we say, wow, such a tragedy. And what we end up doing, we begin to follow this story with young Molina from start to finish. And then you see on TV, they publicize it. They have a trial for this guy, and we're in there as like, you know, it's like a gladiator sport. It's like an arena game. We're sitting rooting for him to lose and Molina to win. Molina lost. She lost her life and she lost the fight, because it was a fight that she didn't even know she was fighting. This is how it is with narcissists. You need to understand who your opponent is. You need to understand who your enemy is. And to condense all of that into what I'm actually still trying to compound, if you never ever hear anything else Machismo has to say, you have to educate and engage with this on a regular basis. I know you don't want to hear this on a regular basis, but you don't want to live this on a regular basis. So you have to make these decisions. You have to choose what you're going to do with your life. And again, before I close, tone down your exposure to trivial things. This will drastically aid you in adopting and educating position on narcissism and narcissistic personality disorder on a daily basis. I ain't gonna say the word substitute, but you need to replace those trivial things that you've grown so laxed and accustomed to doing on a regular basis to fulfill your life. This is fulfilling here. What we're doing here is fulfilling. You should find this fulfilling. And if you don't, you need to start. And that's not a reprimand. That is from the core of my heart. It's knocking on the walls of your heart, trying to tell you, if you don't continually connect with this information and this education and insight, because this is going to benefit you, not me. It's going to benefit you in elevating your vibration on a regular basis to the point where you won't have to work so hard at trying to detect and determine who's who. It becomes natural. It becomes organically a part of your day-to-day life. That is really what I'm trying to get across to you. And I'm imploring you guys, you really have to do this. Nobody's going to do it for you. And these tragedies, we can't keep up with them. They're happening so fast. And I don't even watch TV. 2 a week is too many for me. And I know this is not a perfect world. Those are the things we can't control. But what I am saying to close this video, control the things you can. Control and limit what you do in respects to trivial things as opposed to things that are lasting in your life. These are spiritual matters, and they need to be attended to in a real way, in a deeper way.